Welcome to this very special episode on the Bookmatic channel, where I'm going to be talking about the future of learning and education. So let's open this episode up with a great quote. Education is a social process. Education is growth. Education is not preparation for life, but is life itself. John Dewey. Now, the quote at the very beginning of this episode is an amazing quote, and I believe that it encompasses everything about education. I believe that education is a social process, it promotes growth, and it's life itself. We need to learn for a lifetime. And that is one of the purposes of education is to teach the children how to learn. If kids know how to learn, then later when they grow up, they won't need a teacher anymore because they can learn things by themselves with the tools that teachers have taught them. But of course, it hasn't always been like that. Old schooling, the traditional schooling, prepared kids to work for the factories, you know? So as times have changed and technologies have improved, we also need to change the way that we do schooling, that kids go to school and how they learn and how the teachers teach. So, in this episode, I'm going to talk about a couple different things. The first one here is curriculum. The second one here is what is the teacher's role? And the third one here is what learning spaces are we going to be using? So let's get into the first one here. What sort of curriculum should the future of education have? Well, one thing is there should be classes about technologies, about coding. Maybe this would be an elective class because maybe not every single person wants to learn how to code, but it is something that should be available at all schools because, as we know, technology continues to improve and grow, and coders make a whole lot of money, right? Because businesses need people to code their applications, their websites, and everything like that. So it is a very, very important skill. Another skill here is entrepreneurship, finance, or investing. Now, these skills are, I believe, fundamental. Learning how to manage your money very well and learning how to maybe even build a business in the future if the person wants to. But for sure, learning how to manage money well and how to invest it is a very, very good idea. The next one here I have is communication and mental health and wellness. Now, I combine those two together because, well, in order to communicate well, you also need to have good mental health. Communication is so important because as more technologies improve, certain jobs will be lost, other jobs will be created through new technologies. But let's just look at the jobs that will be lost, right? Jobs that will be lost, accounting, like jobs that you're not really communicating much with other people. So, communication is a huge skill, and there should be classes specifically about communication in the future, and also collaboration. You need to learn how to work well in groups. The second point here is what is the teacher's role? So kids can access almost anything through Google, Google Scholar, through YouTube, right? There's so many different ways to learn through books, right? A teacher's role, like it always has been and should be, is to facilitate the students' learning. So kids can go on there by themselves, but they may not know exactly where to look. As a teacher, we can guide them and show them where to look. So we are there to manage their learning process, to guide them, and to show them the right ways or different ways to learn. And I'll give feedback, constructive feedback, right? So that they can learn how to improve themselves. That we also, as teachers, need to help the students to interpret and think critically. And of course, like I said earlier, learn how to learn so that they can learn for a lifetime. And the very last point that I have here is, what sort of learning spaces are we going to have in the future? So, right now, currently in Indonesia, we're teaching all online because of the COVID pandemic. We're still all online. So, in the future, I believe that there could still be schools all online, and there are some programs that are all online for adults to learn. But for kids, yeah, it could be all online, or it could be a combination of hybrid. So half at home, half at the school, maybe like a flipped classroom where, they're given the initial information, and then they're told to go explore and, discover things on their own. Or if it's all in the school building, at least technology will be involved, will be more involved, more so involved. So, yeah, those are the points that I want to talk about in this episode. Let me know what you think, and I will talk to you in the next episode.